So good morning, everybody. Welcome to this gentle yoga class. Please come to lying on your backs for the beginning of this class, and do flip on your videos if you'd like. I can see you. Hi, Karen. Hi, Teresa. Sorry about the technical glitches. So really making yourself comfortable on your back. Knees bent, soles of your feet standing on the floor. Lovely. Take a few moments now to just arrive. So especially if you weren't here for the meditation, but also if you were here for the meditation, allowing yourself to drop into the body. Noticing the quality of your breath. Being aware of the atmosphere in your room. And maybe closing your eyes. And if you want to, sliding your feet away so you lie long. Allowing yourself to drop into your inner landscape. Observing what happens when you close the doors for a moment, when you turn inwards. Where do you go? Is your attention drawn to this support beneath you, your sense of contact with the floor? Can you really notice where in your body you reach the floor, you meet it? Is there a symmetry across and along the body? Is there maybe a heaviness or a sense of leaning towards one side of the body compared to the other? Or do you find yourself wandering into the experience of breathing right now? And do you notice if your breath is smooth and gliding? Or do you encounter a little bit of obstruction or resistance perhaps in the breath? Or maybe you're feeling particularly strong emotion this morning. Maybe there's some joy present. Or maybe there's some grief. Or maybe you feel both of these things together. Or maybe you're worrying about something and your mind won't stop. Allowing yourself a couple more moments to simply observe what's here. With a tenderness, with an acceptance. And in the midst of what you find, seeing for yourself if a particular intention arises for this practice, for your day, for your week. And bring that very close into you. And then sliding the right foot in only. So the sole of your foot is standing on the floor. And as we do this very gentle hip awareness practice this morning, we're still in the hips. You might want to have your right hand for now on the inside of your thigh, but you don't need to do this. This is just to feel the adductor muscles on the inside of the thigh that are partly responsible for opening and closing the hip, or externally, internally rotating. So as you inhale now, without any force, just allowing your right knee to move towards the floor. So you come onto the side of your foot. And on the exhale, allow the knee to come to vertical and the sole of your foot to find the floor. Lovely. And then continue like that in your own rhythm. Very tender. And as you move into this right hip, these very gentle external rotations, do you notice if the movement is smooth, a bit like with the breath? Or do you notice that there's a little bit of a jaggedness to the movement? All I'm interested in is that you can begin to discriminate between a gliding, smooth movement and a movement that is slightly interrupted. And then next time your knee comes up to vertical, just very lightly turning your left foot to vertical, so that left hip just very gently internally rotates to meet the right. Lovely. And as you inhale, the right knee comes out, the left foot relaxes. And as you exhale, the knee rises and the left foot becomes vertical. So we're back into a somatics practice, for the beginning of this class at least. And as always, the instructions are less is more. And the benefits of somatics or Feldenkrais come from the quality of your awareness that you bring to each movement, each sensation. Lovely. And then sliding that right foot away, right leg away. Feeling the body. And then sliding the left foot in. And again, you could have your left hand inside the thigh or not. And begin this practice on the other side, inhaling to open, exhaling to close. And as you exhale, also straightening the right foot to bring that thigh bone gently rotating in the hip joint, nothing dramatic. Noticing if the quality of the movement on this side is the same or if it's different from the right side. And just taking a couple more before you slide the left foot away. And come to this lovely resting and feeling into the whole body. Always alert to any minute changes in the way your body meets the mat. And then sliding both feet in now and making sure they're about hip distance apart and parallel. And before we start moving our knees, coming back to that very lovely gentle pelvic tilt. So allowing the breath to tilt the pelvis forwards and to rock it back, to flatten your back. So you're all very familiar with this now, this gentle tilting. So you're rolling over the tailbone as you inhale and then flattening the lower back as you exhale, almost lifting the tailbone. Looking for very gentle gliding movements, or if there's obstruction, resistance, just observing that. And continuing with this tilting in the pelvis, maybe placing both of your hands inside your thighs. And on the inhale, as you tilt forwards, allow both knees to drop out to the side. And as you exhale and you flatten your back, bring both knees to vertical. And continue like this for a few rounds. Inhale to open into butterfly legs. Exhale, knees together, your back flattens. And what do you become aware of with this movement? Are you more aware of the tilting of the pelvis, sensations in the lower back, maybe? Or possibly you're aware of the head of the femur, the thigh bone, rotating, sliding in the hip sockets. Take a few more rounds. Beautiful. The slower you go, the greater the benefits, the more you'll observe, and that's what's important. And the next time your knees are out open, leaving them there for a few breaths. Maybe the soles of your feet are together now. And softening in the jaw, softening inside the mouth, the whole face. And simply observe what happens here. And then very gently, maybe using your hands, draw your knees back up, soles of your feet on the floor, and slide your legs away just to feel the body now. Do you feel any sense of vitality or aliveness in parts of the body you didn't feel before? Or maybe not. And then we're going to slide our feet back up again, but this time taking them mat distance apart. But both knees are vertical. So your feet are parallel. Both knees are vertical. Don't be tempted for now to drop the knees into the center. And this is a very subtle movement. I would like you to keep your left leg still if you can. And inhale, and as you exhale, allow your right knee to slide into the middle. Slide into the left. Just a little internal rotation. And then inhale, lift the knee back up to vertical. And exhale, slide the right knee in, all the while keeping your left knee vertical, your left leg still, so that all movement is isolated to the right side. Notice the quality of the movement here. I'm very happy because I've had so many problems in this right hip recently, but I've been doing so much of this kind of work that today for the first time I feel a complete ease and release, and it is just such relief. And I hope that you also can benefit in these ways from these kinds of practices. Wonderful. And then just keeping your right knee vertical, the right leg nice and still, inhaling. And on the exhale, allow the left knee to slide into the center. And it doesn't matter how far it comes or how little it comes. Inhale, lift to vertical. Exhale, allow the knee to drop in. Remembering the slower, the more mindful the movement, the better for your brain, the better for your body, the better for your nervous system. So the left knee is dropping into the center a little or a lot. Yeah, lovely. And it's so interesting watching all of you, because some of you come in almost to drop the knee to the right ankle, and some of you are moving about 2 or 3 centimeters. It's absolutely fine. You might notice the body spiral, the spine spiral a little bit with the movement, you might not. Okay, if you'd like to bring both knees to vertical again. And now we're going to alternate left and right. And you might want to take your arms out in a T shape now. So start with both vertical and then gliding the right knee in. And as you lift the right knee, gliding the left knee in. And now being a little bit freer with the movement, so that you might notice now more going on in the pelvis. You might notice a conversation with the spine. It doesn't matter if you move, in fact, it's good if you move the rest of your body. Maybe your head moves in the opposite direction of the knees. And take a while here, again with the question, are my movements smooth and gliding. And when they are, this means there's a relaxed and positive communication going on with the brain. And if there is obstruction and they're not smooth, it's not like it's a bad thing. It just means that the conversation with the brain is a little bit unhappy maybe, but it's never permanent. The best thing is to notice it. And at some point, allowing both of your knees to drop to the right and allow them to stay there. It doesn't matter if they're low down or not. And turn your head to the left. And take a few breaths now still. So as I do this, the left side of my pelvis is peeled off the floor. My spine is spiraling all the way up, right into the space between my shoulder blades. But that doesn't mean that yours is. I'm just describing my body. Breathe and observe. And if possible, invite a little bit more softness, a little bit more letting go into this very delicate twist. What happens to the breath? And then inhaling, bringing both feet to the floor, and exhaling, allowing both knees to drift over to the left, eyes to the right. And take a few breaths here. And allow your attention to wander. What do you notice? How's your breath? Wonderful. And then bring your head back to neutral and slowly lifting your knees to vertical, feet on the floor. You might need to rearrange your pelvis and your spine and slide your feet away. And again, notice if there are any changes in your connection with the support beneath you. And breathe a while. Take some lovely full breaths. And you know, for some of us, being asked to come regularly into this resting position is a delight. And we can relax back into it and just really relish the rest. And for some of us, and I know this from myself in these practices, for some of us there'll be an impatience, a frustration, like when are we going to get going again? And can you just notice how it is for you today, now? And then very gently rolling over to one side to just bring yourself up. And for the next part of this practice, it's good to be able to slide your feet on the floor. So I'm going to suggest that you fold your mat in half. It's best with bare feet. No, sorry, it might not be actually. Now it might be better with socks because we're going to need to glide our feet on the carpet or the kitchen floor or whatever you're on. And you can lean back on your hands with both legs free. Now, this is something I really have been loving doing myself recently. I want you to start by curling in the right toes and then curling the foot in a little bit more so you feel it in the instep of the foot as you then begin to scoop the foot. The right knee comes out to the side and you're drawing the foot all the way up the inside of the right leg, left leg, excuse me. And then as you exhale, you're sliding the leg back and taking the foot back to a relaxed, natural position. And that's all you're doing, scooping. It's like a little bit of a, Lisa Petterson describes this as an ice cream scoop with the foot, as if you're scooping ice cream from up the inside of your left leg. And you're not necessarily touching the left leg, your foot could be quite far away, but we're just looking for this movement from the toes all the way up into the foot and the ankle, the knee and the hip. Is everyone okay? Are the instructions clear? Okay, good. Thanks, Jane. Can you see me clearly? I've been having complaints recently that people can't see because of the color of my clothing against the mat. Take a few more movements like this, and it should be quite pleasurable. And it's also an inquiry again into the quality of the movement. External rotation on the inhale as you scoop up, and then a very gentle return back to neutral, almost an internal rotation as you slide the foot back. Fantastic. And then let's move that movement to the left. So just relax the right leg down. And remember, we start with the toes, then the instep, then the ankle before the leg slides up and the knee comes out. What we're trying to do is really engage all the tissues of the foot, like in a scoop, and then release them on the exhale. And again, this is not about speed or doing as many as possible. It's not about having the most open hips in the world. It's about awareness, the quality of awareness we bring to the movement. Wonderful. And then rest the left leg. Now the next movement you might or you might not find accessible. Just see how you go and do a minute movement if necessary. You're going to do the same scooping movement with the foot, but you're going to slide the right foot out to the right and towards your hip so the knee turns in. So for some people that's going to be possible, and other people, maybe if you have knee issues, you just come a tiny way like that. You don't have to slide the foot all the way to the side. And as you do this, it's absolutely fine to notice how the spine spirals. You might even find that as your foot slides around to the right, that you look to the left. Beautiful. I'm loving what I'm seeing. You guys are so mindful in your movements. And Liz and Diana, I sent you, and Karen, if you're there, I sent you links by email. So do have a check. And just take a couple more to the right. Just curling your toes to initiate the movement. So interesting, isn't it? This feels so much smoother to me than, I couldn't even do this movement about 3 days ago. And then stop. Just rest that right leg. and bring the movement to the left. Feels quite coquettish to do this, doesn't it? A little bit of a flirtation with the room. Lovely movements. So the people I can see clearly have, and that is actually, I can actually only see clearly Jane, Teresa and Liz. You've got really, I can see what looks like very smooth, easy movements. Lovely accessing the spine, the pelvis. I'm just taking a couple more on this side. And then from here, if you'd like to settle that left leg, we keep the mat folded and we lie our backs on the mat. And our legs should still be free on the floor to slide. And we're going to do exactly those same movements, but now flat on our backs. So beginning to curl the right toes in as you scoop that right foot up the inside of the left leg. And then send it back again, bringing your foot to neutral. So you know what to do, just continuing in your own time, right leg only. And incidentally, if you are someone who finds squatting or sitting cross-legged a real challenge, the somatic movements we've did over the last 2 weeks, and then what we're doing now as a continuation, are really fantastic therapy actually, or preparation of the body for squatting, for cross-legged sitting. Just take one more like this on the right. And then begin your scoop and opening on the left. All the while aware of the quality of the movements and the quality of your awareness. Glide and slide. Wonderful. Okay, and then resting the left leg, taking a moment to feel the body. And then beginning that curling of the right toes as you slide the foot to the right side of the body, the knee comes in. And again, it doesn't have to come far. It might only come a little way. Don't force anything. This is about the quality of the movement, not about winning a prize for coming the furthest. So sliding your foot up the right side of the body, the knee will drop in. Yeah. And just a couple more like that. And it'd be quite natural, especially on this side, as you are internally rotating the thigh bone in the hip, that the movement gets a bit obstructed. It definitely does for me when I'm on my back like this. And then resting that leg and bringing the movement to the left. Wonderful. Just taking a couple more, and then we're going to have a try at bringing those movements together. So you can rest out now with your legs together. Feet touching, ankles touching. And on the inhale, scoop both feet up together into a kind of frog, into a butterfly. And then push your knees together. Feet come out. Slide the legs away. So drawing the feet together, draw them in. Slide your feet out to the side and away. Actually, let's just start that again. That is one movement, but I think there's a better way of doing this. So let's start again. Inhale, scoop your feet in towards you. Knees come out. Exhale, slide them away and apart. And then inhale, draw both knees up the side, knees come together. And exhale, slide your feet away and apart. Bring them together, draw your knees in. That's better, isn't it? All these movements in the hips. And when I do this with my legs together, I can't bring my feet nearly as far up the side of the body. I don't know about you, it looks like you have similar experience to me. It's definitely more obstruction. I'm just taking a few more rounds here, just noticing the freedom or the difficulty in the movement. So good for the health of the relationship between your thigh bone and the hip sockets and all the tissues and muscles responsible for externally and internally rotating the hips. Lovely. Okay. And then rest. Take a nice long rest now, just feeling the body, noticing any changes again. Taking a few full breaths. And then drawing your knees in towards you. Having a little roll around either from side to side or in circles. If you're in circles, taking your knees in both directions. And we're going to meet in a moment. Take your time, there's no hurry. We're going to meet in an all fours position. So you're going to need to lengthen out your mat again. So that was a lot of concentration, a lot of focus. And we'll bring maybe slightly glidier hips now into more familiar yoga territory. And thanks for the feedback, by the way. I'm getting a sense from lots of you that you really enjoy this somatics, this Feldenkrais, before you come into some of the more classical poses. It's just a lovely way of soothing the nervous system, but also preparing the body. Really lubricates, really limbers the body. So in your own time, allowing the breath to tilt the pelvis forwards into your cow. Feeling sensations in the pelvis as you do this, and exhale, rock it back, scoop yourself up into your cat. And we'll just bring a little spinal flow that's familiar. Moving between cat, cow, and when you want to, adding a child pose in. And simply moving in your own way. If you want to add a little circling in the hips, of course, go ahead. I'm going to leave you to be a little bit intuitive now. You might even find you come up and you want to roll over the front of your body onto your belly. Choose what feels really good for the body, for your spine. Allow the breath to move you. Few more breaths like this, and of course coming to downward dog if that feels right as well. So I trust you now, because all of you, to really know what feels good for you, to move to downward dog only when it's right, or maybe to stay very close to the mat, and maybe to even rest on your belly a while. And then if you'd like to meet me when you're ready in an all fours position, just want to add a gentle arm movement to this. As you take a breath in here, and as you exhale, reach back towards your heels with your sitting bones, but sweep your right arm behind you, and then inhale, bring it over, and reach forwards, and exhale, slide back. So really enjoy the movement now of the arm and the ribs, allowing more breath into the right side of the lungs, and making it your own, making it pleasurable. Feeling it possibly in the side body. And then taking just one more before you change sides. Lovely. Really feeling into the left side now. Beautiful. And just taking one more. Wonderful. And then in your own time, curling your toes under, lifting yourself to your version of a downward dog, if that's right for you. And taking 5 full breaths, either in downward dog or maybe you've opted for a child's pose. Knees can be bent or legs straight, whatever works for you. And then looking in between your hands and walking or stepping your feet forwards. And we're going to come straight up, just rolling yourself straight up. Fantastic. So we've got a little bit of balancing again today, because I just know how much you'll love it. Do hold on to something if you need to. And we're going to come into tree, but we're going to use arm movements to bring more of a breath awareness into the tree. So if you'd like to engage the left leg, really spread your toes, look at your foot and really have the foot nicely connected to the floor. And then just like we've been doing on our backs, inhale and open the knee out to the side. And exhale here. Now I've got my heel into my ankle. It may be that's where you want to stay, or you might want to bring the foot higher up the leg. I'll see how I get on. And keeping your hands on your hips for now. Nice soft gaze. And then drop your left arm by your sides. And as you inhale, begin to lift the arm. And at some point, exhale. And bring it right over your ear towards the right. And as you inhale, begin to straighten your arm out to the left. And exhale, arm down by your sides. So adding movement like this is very challenging for the balance. To make it as simple as you like. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale with the arm. Exhale back down to your sides. And take one more. Beautiful. And then bring your left hand to your hip. And bring the right knee in and the foot to the floor. Inhaling, take the left knee out, nice and stable in the right leg. Right arm down by your side, eyes soft gaze ahead. Inhale, about halfway through the circuit, and exhale, arm over the ear. Inhale, exhale, arm down by your side. And take a couple more. And then resting the arm down by your sides, gently bringing that left knee back in and settling the foot down. Take a moment to feel the body. And we're going to come back into tree on the right-hand side. So you bring your way, you might want to challenge yourself a bit more this time. Starting with your hands to your hips. And this time release the right arm down by your side. And inhale, lift a little way. And exhale, arm over to the left. And inhale, exhale, arm down by your side. And take a few like this, really synchronizing the breath with the movement. And then making the one you're on, your last one. Drawing the right knee in and sliding the foot down to the floor. Coming into tree with the left leg raised. And this time starting with the left arm down by your sides. And start that breathing about halfway up. Exhale. Is it possible to find an inner stillness even though you're moving your arm with the breath? And maybe wobbling and coming out. And taking one more. gently releasing the left foot. And take a moment to feel the body. Feel both feet nicely grounded on the floor. Maybe aware of sensations in the pelvis, the hips, maybe circling a little bit in one direction and then in the opposite direction. And we're going to come down to the mat. We haven't got long to do this final pose. On Friday we'll have longer to elaborate. And this is a pose that is not going to be, well, I'm going to have to give you adaptations because it might not be available for all of you. So when we came up into tree, we're only externally rotating the hip when we lift the leg. And I want to counter all of that with some internal rotation, which we've already practiced with the glidey slidey movements. But this time, if you can you bring can you see my right foot is right by my hip? So I've bent the right knee completely. Now I know if you've got knee problems, that might not be possible. So there's a couple of options. You could come back to having the foot inside. So it's an external rotation, and that's okay. If you're managing to bend this right knee, but you're tilting right over, try wedging your left buttock with a cushion or a block, because you want to be able to feel both sitting bones. And you really, please don't tolerate any pain in the knee at all. 0 tolerance, pain in the right knee. And see if you can sit up with a nice straight spine to begin with. Lovely. And even here, have a little go at tilting the pelvis, just like you did on your back. Internal rotate, excuse me. As you breathe in, tilt it forwards. As you breathe out, scoop it back, and see how the rest of the spine. Amazing. And that you'll maybe feel that in the right hip. Just a little bit of awareness there. I'm sorry I'm speeding up a bit here, and then let's have a little experiment. Take a breath in and a nice long spine. And as you exhale, what does it feel like to creep forwards? Creeping your fingers forwards. You might find yourself rolling to one side. You can balance yourself with your hand. Some of you might be able to reach the left foot. So this is a really full-on internal rotation of the right hip. Take a few breaths, and I know it can be quite challenging. Can you soften yourself into wherever you found yourself right now? Keep releasing down into the hips. Beautiful. So that's just a very brief little foray into forward fold with an internal hip. And now come back up again. Nice and slow. And what is it like to come back? Maybe just bring your hands back a little way. Maybe you can bring your elbows down. Maybe you come to lying flat. All of those options are good. I'd just like you to take 5 full breaths, releasing into that right thigh and hip now. So this is very, very different from the continual movement we were doing. Now dropping into sensation and more of a stillness. Breathe. Take one more full breath in and a long breath out. And then if you're all the way down, pressing into your elbows to help you come up. And gently, gently coming up. And then very lovingly bring your right foot in so that it's about a fist's distance from your left thigh, and crook the left elbow around the knee. Lift the right arm, inhale, and then take a gentle twist to the right. Nothing too elaborate here. And breathe. Using your eyes if you can to explore around to the right. And if you're lying on your back, take a little twist as well. Just good for the spine to have a little twist towards the end of the practice. Okay, and then gently coming back, sliding that right leg away, maybe giving it a little bit of love. And we'll do this all to the left. So if you can, bringing your left foot to the side of your hip. If that's not possible, bringing the foot into the thigh. If you need to, wedge something under your right buttock. And take a little while to really drop down through the sitting bones in the hips. I'm going to go over 5 minutes today. I hope that's all right for everybody. We'll do the physical practice up to 8:30, then I'll leave you to have your relaxation. Thanks. Okay, so as you drop down through the hips, take a breath in and then breathing out, creep yourself forwards either a tiny bit or all the way, or as far as you want is what I meant to say. And it's all right to slide in and out actually as you feel your way. I really know how challenging this can be. Find your breath, find your stillness just for a few breaths. How are you doing in the jaw, inside the mouth, the shoulders? Breathe. One more full breath in here and a long breath out. And then gently, gently, gently coming back and choosing your version of a back bend. Either coming onto your hands behind you, forearms, or all the way down. And this is also a lovely stretch for the quadriceps, the thigh muscles on the front and the left. Breathe and soften, wherever you are. Drop right into the hips. One more full breath in and a long breath out. Very gently bring yourself back up. Slight engagement of the abdomen. So that pose we've just done is really lovely to do in a yin class, so to stay for 3 or 5 minutes. Because then you can really, really settle, and it prepares you for full saddle where you've got both knees bent. But that's enough for now today. I'd like to gently bring that left foot forwards, about a fist's distance away from the right thigh, right elbow scooped around. Inhale, lift the left arm, and exhale, take a little twist to the left. Keep it light, keep it simple, and breathe here. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. And then gently come back to the center. Slide your left leg away, give it a little rub. And it is 8:30. So either coming straight into your Shavasana, or if there's anything that you feel that would be really what your body's asking for right now, go ahead. Make sure you're warm enough. And we're right back where we started, and possibly feeling quite different now in our body, in and of itself, but also in relation to the floor beneath us. See what you find. If you chose an intention for your practice, invite that back in. And thank you so much for joining me. I'll allow you to bring yourself out of your relaxation. It'd be good to know from some of you how you found the practice. It's a new one for me. Give yourself time to drop right back into that inner landscape, free to wander.